5-0. It's almost a 100% guarantee that you're going to lose that game. And then Lamar Jackson, he's just all world. Yeah. Whenever he gets outside the pocket, he had the secondary on their heels. And going into the game, I said this would be the toughest game for the secondary, and I proved to be right.
It's just not a team that the Niners are used to seeing. Baltimore, they are the real bullies until proven otherwise. But to me, this is a game where you just flush it and you move on. Get the game next week, you're #1 in the conference.
And with that, we go out to Levi Stadium with our 49ers insider, Matt Mayoko. Matt, welcome to the show. When the two best teams in the NFL face each other, games like this are not supposed to happen this way. From your perspective, Matt, what happened in Santa Clara today?
The Baltimore Ravens came in. They were the stronger team. They asserted their will. They were the faster team. They were the better prepared team. They played the better game. They looked like the best team in the NFL, and I don't even know where the 49ers would rank. Today, the 49ers looked like a bottom third team with the way they played. I mean, the four early interceptions from Brock Purdy. The defense didn't play well. Special teams wasn't particularly bright either. The 49ers just got steamrolled in this game, and all the things we talked about. How would Brock Purdy be able to contend with the Ravens defense, a defense that ranked #1 in the league in scoring, also in sacks, but all those disguises? Well, the 49ers did not look ready for this one, and Brock Purdy's MVP chances takes a major blow, if not a fatal blow.
You talk about Brock Purdy, Matt. 4 interceptions, a career high for Brock Purdy. What stood out of the problems he faced tonight against the Ravens?
Everything. I mean, there were problems all throughout. It was, the batted passes. It was, trying to look off the safety, Kyle Hamilton, and Hamilton not biting. So it was like the Ravens were very well prepared for this game. Yes, they made some really good plays as far as the deflections as well. You could call that bad luck, but 5 interceptions total with Sam Darnold giving one up there at the end. This was a Ravens defense that really was just came after the 49ers in so many different ways, and Brock Purdy for the first time made mistakes. We haven't seen him make very many mistakes, but boy did he make a lot in this game.
Were you surprised, Matt, that they didn't go to the run game earlier and more often, especially in the beginning of the game?
Well, I think that was their game plan. I think they wanted to try to hit the Ravens with some pass plays, and it worked effectively early in that game with the long pass to Kittle. But I think that was all part of the plan, was just to kind of soften them up. The Ravens were showing a lot of really stacked boxes to try to take away Christian McCaffrey, and I'm sure the 49ers felt that there would be some opportunities in the pass game, and it looked like there were some opportunities in the pass game. McCaffrey, when he got the ball in his hands, of course, did Christian McCaffrey things. He makes plays, he scores touchdowns, he does all that. So, again, we talked about this on the pregame show, and we're really jumping ahead, especially with the way the 49ers played. But I'm really curious to see if these teams were to meet again. And again, the 49ers did not look Super Bowl ready on this night. But if they were to meet again, you just wonder what tweaks the 49ers will make, and if Brock Purdy will just look better, or if the Baltimore Ravens just flat out have the 49ers number and are just a really bad matchup for the 49ers. They're a bad matchup for any team, don't get me wrong, but maybe they are a bad matchup for the 49ers. But that's getting way ahead of ourselves. The 49ers have a lot of unfinished business here, and that has to start with 2 wins to close out the season to nail down home field advantage. And right now, that doesn't look like a sure thing.
All right, Matt, overreaction of the week. Christian McCaffrey has now a better chance of being MVP than Brock Purdy. What do you say?
I don't think that's an overreaction. I think when you're looking at 50 national voters who haven't watched the 49ers on a consistent basis, and they saw this game on Monday night billed as the 2 top teams in the NFL, the top team in the AFC, the top team in the NFC, it's hard to look at this objectively and say that Brock Purdy has that MVP look to him. So I'm just kind of projecting of what national voters might say, and I would think that at this point, it's probably a very strong argument for Christian McCaffrey being the guy who has the favorite from being out of the 49ers, the guy who might be the guy the 49ers push forward and would finish higher in the MVP standings.
Matt Mayoko, our 49ers insider. Thank you so much, Matt. All right, let's go to the playoff picture now as it stands. You see three teams with the 11-4 record. The 49ers still hold the #1 seed, and they own their destiny. If they win out, they beat the Commanders next week, and then the Rams the following week, they will hold the #1 seed. But you can see the Eagles right there behind them. Same with the Lions. Then the Cowboys are one game behind, but they have the tiebreaker, the 49ers do, over the Cowboys. So as of right now, they still have the bye week going forward. And that's got to be the main goal right now, right?
No, absolutely it is. But the problem with next week coming up, and hopefully not beyond that, but you have to think about the last game of the season against the Rams, who are playing well, is what shape are the Niners going to be as far as their offensive line is concerned? We don't know the severity yet of Trent Williams' groin issue, and Aaron Banks going out late in that game looked like it was sort of a reoccurrence of the toe issue he's been having. And listen, we saw when the Niners, when they don't have Trent, or when they don't have either one of their starting tackles, or their starting offensive lineman,
right,
it is a severe problem for them. So Washington is a team that the Niners should beat and could beat, but how compromised are the Niners going to be up front? And we saw when the protection is not there, it's a problem for Brock Purdy.
I feel like it's Christmas, and we did see a horrible game for the 49ers. I want to kind of find a silver lining for the fans going forward. Could there be a silver lining in Dante? Facing this team now can bring education for the 49ers going forward if they see him again in the Super Bowl and things can turn around.
Absolutely. And the #1 thing that they learned from today's game was the speed at which Lamar Jackson plays. They haven't seen a quarterback that can move that fast. They haven't seen a quarterback with the creativity inside and outside of the pocket. Did you see some of those throws that he were making on the run? And a lot of it was on the defensive ends. They tell the defensive ends, do not rush past the quarterback, especially a mobile quarterback. You have to compress the pocket. And there was multitude of times out there where we saw defensive ends running upfield like they're playing a drop-back quarterback. He flushes outside the pocket and make an incredible throw underneath that goes for an explosive play. So, yes, they can keep that in the back of their mind and know what type of game Lamar Jackson is going to play.
And I think also on the other side of the ball, how does Kyle Shanahan attack the Baltimore defense? And I think we learned something today. You got to go right at those guys. You got to go right at those guys with the run game. And I want to go something that you brought up during the pregame show. We both saw it during prep leading up to this game this week. The Ravens played the Rams a couple of weeks ago, and the Rams gave the Ravens all that they wanted. I believe it was 37-33. The Ravens eventually ended up winning the game. But we both noticed this, is that the Rams, they started the game by running the ball at the Ravens 5 straight times. Now, it eventually ended up in a field goal because when the Rams had to pass, the Ravens were able to stop the drive, but they ran the ball at the Ravens 5 straight times. I think Kyle Shanahan and the Niners saw that, and they tried to not necessarily get tricky, but I think with the sort of the commonality that the Rams and the Niners have offensively, with McVay being a Shanahan disciple, I think they thought, you know what, if we try to run the ball like the Rams, the Ravens are going to be ready for it. They're going to expect it, so we're going to zig when they think that we're going to zag. And what did the Niners do? First drive of the game, they threw the ball 5 straight times.
Well, it worked until the interception by Brock Purdy. It did work until that.
Then to wait for him to get all the way to Kyle Hamilton, they tried a grab concept on the backside, and it didn't work. First interception of the game that led to 4 interceptions.
This is the list you never want to be on. 49ers quarterback with 4 interceptions in a game last 20 seasons. Well, it didn't happen since 2015. Hadn't happened. Colin Kaepernick against Arizona, then Trent Dilfer did it in 2007. Alex Smith, you see the list up there. Is there a specific thing that worries you about what you saw today from Brock? Or is it just a flush-it game, moving along?
There's nothing that worried me today. We've seen him take risks all year long, and today it just caught up with him.
Yeah.
He had 2 batted passes that went for interceptions. You can't really control that as a quarterback. The one that Kyle Hamilton came over in the red zone, that was all Brock Purdy. But for the most part, you have to flush this one. We know what Brock Purdy can do. You can't let this hinder your success moving forward.
A very good Baltimore defense made some plays. They did what they were supposed to do, and Brock Purdy is not going to.
Cắt 2 tờ giấy màu hồng. Tiếp theo là mình sẽ có màu đỏ nhé. Phần tờ giấy màu đỏ này thì mình có thể cắt đôi. Đây, các bạn sẽ cắt nó ra như này. Sau đó các bạn sẽ cắt đôi. Rồi tiếp theo đến màu vàng cam này. Rồi cuối cùng là màu xanh da trời nhé. mình cũng không biết là mình cắt như này nó có đủ hay không, nhưng mà mình cứ cắt ra như này, nếu mà thiếu thì mình sẽ tiếp tục mình sẽ cắt thêm. Bây giờ thì mình sẽ đi đan những cái phần này lên cái phần thân của cái quả dứa này. Thì các bạn sẽ đan như này cho mình, đan chéo cái phần này nhé, đan chéo cái phần thân này. Đây, ví dụ cái phần này thì các bạn đan đến đây thôi chẳng hạn. Mình sẽ cắt những cái phần này nó có những cái đoạn ngắn hơn. Đỏ này. Đây đã mình sẽ dán cái phần cài cái phần này lên tận đây nhé. Mình sẽ ngắn nhất, cái màu đỏ này mình sẽ ngắn nhất này. Đây, các bạn sẽ cho nó lên đây, lên trên cái góc trên cùng như thế này. Tiếp theo thì mới là màu xanh dương nhé. Tiếp theo mình sẽ có màu xanh dương này. Các bạn sẽ cầm cái phần này, mặc dù nó chéo nhưng mà các bạn cầm thẳng lên như này thì cũng rất là dễ đan thôi. Đây, tiếp tục đan cái phần màu xanh dương lên như thế này nhé. Rồi, cái phần này cho xuống dưới này. Rồi, cái phần này mình lại cho lên trên bên này. Rồi, cái phần này thì nó đang hơi thừa một chút thì mình sẽ cắt bớt nó đi. Hoặc là các bạn cứ để như này rồi lát nữa thì khi mà mình làm xong thì mình sẽ cắt một thể nhé. Tiếp theo mình sẽ có màu cam nhé các bạn. Đây, màu cam này. Mình đang lệch bên đây, gọi mình phải chỉnh lại nhé. Ở dưới này. Đây, bên trên này. Các bạn phải làm nó so le nhau ra nhé. Đây, tiếp theo lại xuống dưới này. Cái phần trên thì nó ở trên rồi thì cái phần này thì mình phải